Hello CLAT aspirants, this is your mentor Riddhi and welcome to another session on Strategize with Get.Set.Law. In today's session, we'll be discussing about some common blunders that we all make while studying current affairs. So let's get to it. The first is overloading on information. Now what do I mean by this? Overloading on information or stacking multiple news articles, stacking multiple content. Reading every part of the newspaper is really not required. You need to know what to study, how to study, and when to study. Now, understanding all of these things, what to study means what kind of news articles or what kind of news are you supposed to study. Now, to know more about this, you can definitely go back and read or know more about this from our regular current affairs sessions. So, maybe just check them out to know what kind of news becomes more important to us. So, make sure that you're not overloading on information. The next is ignoring your previous year questions or previous year papers and skipping analysis. Now, what do I mean by this? Basically, previous year questions give us a rough idea about predicting what kind of questions will come for our next exam. So, to what we have understood in the last few years is CLAT basically has some mixed approach. It's one-liner question as well as passage-based or as well as statement-based questions. So, to know more about this, you should have a habit of knowing or reading the previous year questions. Likewise, you should never skip the analysis of those papers. You should never skip the analysis. Simply going through the news or simply going through the articles without understanding the in-depth analysis, without understanding the societal impact of the same will give us no good. So, make sure that you're not skipping the previous year questions and not skipping the analysis of the same. The next that I'm trying to talk about is procrastination. Make sure आप लोग आलसी नहीं हो रहे हो. Procrastinating basically means कि चलो CLAT का current affairs का study, I'll keep it at the last. Always remember, if you keep it at the last and probably watch the roundups or watch the only weekly current affairs video in one go, you're not going to remember anything. So make sure that you're regularly utilizing or regularly giving time to current affairs studies on regular basis where you're trying to read news, understand news, analyze news and write about it. Make sure you're not procrastinating. The next is neglecting legal news and skipping revision. Now what do I mean by this? Basically, CLAT is a common law aptitude test, which means it is a law-based exam. So how can you afford to miss legal news? You should be aware of all of these legal bills, the new amendments, the new articles, probably some important landmark judgments or recent legal developments that are going on and around in India. So make sure that you're not skipping on legal news. Likewise, if we do not revise whatever we have written, how are we going to remember it? If you remember, in my earlier video, I told you, memory has its own memory. Make sure that you're making flashcards. Make sure that you're making notes of the material that you're writing on regular basis. So do not skip revision. The next is lack of time management. It is important for us to manage time. It is important for us to dedicate those exclusive hours for the next 2 months. Now it's time for smart work and not hard work. So make sure that you're dedicating those exclusive hours for your coming goal, that is CLAT 2024. At the same time, maybe you can use this time via managing the Pomodoro technique. Now, what do I mean by Pomodoro technique? Basically, this Pomodoro technique is 25 minutes of extensive study, 5 minutes of break. Do this in 4 rounds and take a 30-minute longer break. This will help you in remember the content very nicely. Maybe give it a try and you will see the results. Now that we saw 5 common mistakes that all of us tend to make, there are some 2 extra common mistakes that we have seen generally followed by every one of you. So make sure that you're not comparing yourself to others. Now what do I mean by this? Lot of times we see that you are scoring probably some higher marks or you're scoring some less marks than your friends or your colleagues or your classmates. Do not try to compare yourself with others. See, there are times where we tend to see that Each student has a different learning capacity, different understanding capacity. So when you try to motivate or demotivate yourself by comparing yourself with others, you tend to lose marks, or sometimes you gain marks as well, but that is not a healthy way to, practice your forthcoming CLAT studies. So don't try to compare yourself, or do not compare yourself with others. And the last is getting distracted. We all live in this social media world. Instagram Reels, Facebook sessions, Twitter videos, or Twitter news articles. Don't get distracted by all this. Make sure that the time when you're dedicating for your CLAT studies, you're just keeping your social media channels a little away from yourself. So these were some common mistakes that we tend to, follow on our regular days while we are studying current affairs. Make sure that you're not following these things. Make sure that you're keeping yourself aware that you're not a part of this chain. Okay, we will see you in the next session of Strategize with Get.Set.Law. Till then, I hope you all study well and all the best for your studies. Make sure that you like, share and subscribe to our channel. See you all in the next session. Bye-bye. Take care.